me, sir.
A terrified 8-year-old girl pounded on a biker's leather vest and begged, "Sir, my brother can't breathe." What this tattooed road dog did next made the entire highway stop dead and save 2 lives the system wanted to destroy. The asphalt was bleeding heat. Matty, road dog, Malone felt it rising through the soles of his boots, through the scorched metal of his shovel head, through the leather vest that clung to his back like a second skin. I-75 was a parking lot. Had been for 40 minutes. The kind of gridlock that made Detroit summers feel like purgatory. Diesel fumes mixing with hot rubber, car horns bleeding like wounded animals, and the sun hammering down like God's own anvil. He thumbed the throttle, just enough to feel the rumble in his chest. The engine's growl was the only voice that made sense anymore. The patch on his cut, a snarling wolf's head, Iron Saints MC stitched above it, was faded to almost nothing. The club was gone, scattered to prison, graves, and cowards' exits. Matty was the last one still wearing it, and most days he wasn't sure if that made him loyal or just stubborn as hell. A bead of sweat rolled down his temple, catching in his beard. Top, 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 small, insistent, wrong. Matty's head turned slow, the way a wolf's does when something breaks the pattern. His hand instinctively moved to the knife in his boot. Old habit from old wars, but stopped. A little girl stood beside his bike. She couldn't have been more than 8. Blonde hair stuck to her forehead, red dress wrinkled and stained. Her eyes were too big, too wet, and her small fist was still raised, ready to knock on his saddlebag again. "Sir," her voice cracked. "Sir, please, my brother can't breathe." Matty's jaw tightened. "Not my problem," his brain said. The same thing it had been saying for 5 years, every time the world tried to pull him back in. But then she pointed. 2 cars up, driver's side door open. A woman, late 20s, hair a mess, face pale as chalk, was leaning into the back seat, her shoulders shaking. And behind her, barely visible through the tinted window, was a kid, maybe 6 years old. His face wasn't just pale. It was blue, gasping, mouth open like a fish on a dock, tiny hands clawing at his throat. Something in Matty's chest, something he'd thought was dead and buried with the rest of the Iron Saints, kicked to life like a cold engine turning over. "Asthma," he barked. "Elena nodded. Der Stremin." Mom forgot his inhaler. "We've been stuck here so long, and he keeps." Matty swung off the bike. Boots hit pavement. 3 strides, and he was at the car, shouldering the mother aside. Not rough, but firm. The kid's lips were almost purple now. His eyes were rolling back. "How far to the nearest ear?" Matty's voice was gravel and diesel. 3 miles, the mother sobbed. "But the traffic, we can't." Matty looked at the gridlock, saw the SUVs and sedans packed and like sardines. Saw the fear in Elena's eyes. Saw the little boy, Joey, he'd heard the mother call him, starting to go limp. Not my problem. Except it was. The second that little girl's fist had knocked on his saddlebag, it became his problem. "Get him out," Matty said. "What?" "Get him out." His hands were already moving, yanking open the back door, reaching in. Joey was a rag doll in his arms, all dead weight and desperate, rattling breaths. Elena grabbed his vest. "What you doing?" Matty's eyes met hers. For the first time in 5 years, someone was looking at him like he could save something instead of destroy it. "Your brother's coming with me." He turned, Joey cradled against his chest, and started walking back to his bike. Behind him, the mother was screaming something. Other drivers were staring. Someone was filming on their phone. Matty didn't care. He settled onto the shovel head, the boy positioned in front of him, his tattooed forearm locked around Joey's ribcage. Elena appeared at his side, her small hand on the gas tank. "I'm coming too. Kid, he's my brother." Maddie saw it then. The same fire that had burned in every Iron Saint who'd ever worn the patch. Loyalty. The kind you can't teach. The kind that gets you killed. Or saves lives. "Get on behind me. Hold on to my vest, and don't let go." She scrambled up, her arms wrapped around him, tiny fists gripping leather. Maddie kicked the engine. The shovel head roared to life, a sound that made windows rattle and heads turn. 3 miles, through a parking lot of steel and rage. He twisted the throttle, and the world exploded into thunder. The shovelhead's pipes screamed like a demon being born. Maddie didn't ask for space. He took it. The bike lunged forward, engine bellowing at full throat, and the sound was a physical thing, a wall of noise that hit windshields and rattled side mirrors. Drivers flinched. Some threw hands up, others just froze. He didn't stop. The front tire kissed chrome bumpers. Drivers jerked their wheels left, right, anywhere to get away from the tattooed maniac with a dying kid strapped to his chest. Elena's arms were vice grips around his ribs. Joey's head lolled against his collarbone, lips the color of old bruises. "Stay with me, kid," Maddie growled. A minivan swerved. Alexis jumped the shoulder. The corridor opened like Moses splitting the goddamn Red Sea, and Maddie hammered the throttle, weaving through the gap. Horn blast chased him. Middle fingers flew. He didn't care. The ER sign blazed neon green against the sky. Maddie roared into the emergency bay, right past the NO vehicle sign, right up to the sliding glass doors. He killed the engine, dismounted with Joey in his arms, Elena still clutching his vest. "I need a doctor." His voice was a thunderclap. The lobby froze. A security guard, name tag read Dwight, shot to his feet, hand moving toward his belt. 2 nurses backed up. Their eyes weren't on Joey. They were on Maddie, on his ink, his patch, his knuckles scarred white from old fights. "Sir, you need to. This kid is dying." A doctor, young, female, sharp eyes, appeared. She took one look at Joey's blue face and moved. "Trauma 2. Now." Hands grabbed the boy. Maddie let him go. Elena tried to follow, but a nurse blocked her. "You can't." Maddie's hand came down on the nurse's shoulder. Gentle, firm. "She stays with me." The trauma room doors swung shut. Silence crashed down like a hammer. Dwight's radio crackled. "Security to ER. We need." The doors burst open. The doctor stepped out, eyes finding Maddie. "He's breathing. You got here just in time." She paused. "Another 5 minutes." "I know," Maddie said. Behind him, the automatic doors slid open. Footsteps. Measured. Deliberate. A man's voice, calm and cold as January. "Which one of you brought in the Martinez children?" The man wore a tie the color of old dishwater. "Mr. Henderson." That's what his laminated badge said. Child Protective Services. He carried a clipboard like it was a Bible, and his eyes had that look, the one cops get after 20 years on the job, where every face is guilty until proven otherwise. He looked at Maddie exactly once. His gaze swept from the faded patch to the prison tattoos, stopped at the scar bisecting Maddie's left eyebrow. Then he looked away, dismissing him like trash on the sidewalk. "I need to speak with the mother." Alone. Brenda Martinez sat in a plastic chair, mascara tracks down her cheeks, hands shaking. She looked up at Henderson the way a rabbit looks at a hawk. Maddie stayed 10 feet back. Elena was pressed against his leg, her small fingers twisted into his jeans. He could hear every word. Mrs. Martinez, this is the third incident this year. It was an accident. I forgot the inhaler. The traffic. You forgot. Henderson's pen scratched paper. Like you forgot to refill his prescription last month. Like you forgot the parent-teacher conference in September. Brenda's voice cracked. I'm trying. I work 2 jobs. Your trying isn't working. The clipboard came up. Shield and sword. Your son nearly died today because of your negligence. Maddie's jaw tightened. Elena's grip turned white-knuckle. Henderson flipped a page. Where's the father? Gone. 3 years. Support payments? Nothing. Family. My mom's in Ohio. She can't or won't. Silence. Brenda's shoulders shook. Henderson clicked his pen. The sound was a judge's gavel. Mrs. Martinez, I'm recommending immediate temporary custody. The children will be placed in emergency foster care while we assess. No. Brenda's voice was barely a whisper. Please. They're all I have. They'll be safer. Together. Maddie's voice cut through like a blade through butter. They stay together. Henderson turned. His eyes were glacier cold. Excuse me. Maddie stepped forward. Slow. Deliberate. Every inch of him a wall between this man and those kids. You're not separating them. Mr. Malone. Mr. Malone. Henderson's smile was thin as paper. I appreciate your assistance today, but this is a matter for professionals. These children need proper care, proper supervision. They need each other. We have limited placements. It's unlikely. Then find a placement. Maddie's voice dropped to a growl. Not angry. Protective. The kind of sound a wolf makes over its den. You don't split a pack. Not for paperwork. Not for convenience. Henderson's eyebrows rose. Sir, I don't think you understand the situation. I understand you're about to rip apart the only family these kids have left. Elena buried her face in Maddie's side. Her whole body was trembling. Henderson studied Maddie for a long moment. Then he turned back to Brenda, his pen poised. Mrs. Martinez, unless you can provide proof of stable housing, consistent income, and proper medical supervision within 48 hours. She's got 72. Both of them looked at Maddie. Henderson's pen stopped mid-stroke. I beg your pardon? I know the statute. Emergency custody requires a 72-hour assessment period before permanent placement. Maddie's eyes were hard as flint. That's 3 days, not 48 hours. 3. Something flickered behind Henderson's professional mask. Surprise. Maybe respect. You seem well-versed in family law, Mr. Malone. I know what I need to know. Henderson closed his clipboard. Very well. 72 hours. But the children cannot remain with Mrs. Martinez during the assessment period. They'll stay with me. The words hung in the air like smoke. Henderson's pen fell from his fingers and clattered on the linoleum floor. Before we press further, I'm curious. Where in the world are you watching this from? Drop your city or country in the comments right now. And if you're new here, hit that subscribe button because we share real stories about real people who prove that heroes don't always wear capes. Sometimes they wear leather and ride Harleys. Now let's get into the story. Sal. It's Road Dog. Maddie stood in the hospital parking lot, phone pressed to his ear, watching the sodium lights flicker orange against the night. Somewhere behind him, sirens wailed. Detroit never slept. Jesus Machi. Been 5 years. You dying or in jail? Neither. Need a favor. Sal's laugh was gravel in a blender. Retired Detroit PD, 40 years on streets. They'd grown up 3 blocks apart, back when the neighborhood still had corner stores and front porches. What kind of favor? The legal kind. CPS wants to split up 2 kids. I need to stop them. Silence. Then you? Taking in kids. Temporary custody. 72 hours to prove I'm not a threat. Maddie, you got a rap sheet from here to sealed records. Juvenile. 20 years old. Maddie's knuckles went white on the phone. I need paperwork. References. Whatever makes me look like a goddamn Boy Scout. Another pause. You serious about this? Maddie looked back at the hospital. Through the glass, he could see Elena sitting in a plastic chair, her legs too short to touch the ground. Yeah. Give me 6 hours. I'll make some calls. Thanks, Sal. Maddie? Don't screw this up. The line went dead. Inside, Elena hadn't moved. Maddie sat beside her, the chair groaning under his weight. She looked at him with eyes that had seen too much too young. You know what that is? He pointed to the eagle painted on his gas tank, visible through the window where his bike sat under a light. She shook her head. Freedom. That bird doesn't ask permission to fly. Doesn't let anyone clip its wings. He leaned back. You and Joey? You're like that eagle. Nobody gets to separate you. Something shifted in her face. Not quite a smile, but close. Will it hurt? Her voice was small. What? When they take us away. Maddie's jaw worked. They're not taking you anywhere. Promise. He looked at those eyes. Saw his baby sister's face, 30 years gone. A different lifetime. A different devil. Promise. An hour later, Joey was awake. Pale, but breathing. Maddie slipped into the room with something wrapped in a gas station bag. The boy's eyes widened when Maddie pulled out a small metal toy. A Harley, scratched and old, from the hospital gift shop. For me? For you. Joey's fingers closed around it. My dad had a motorcycle. Before he left. Maddie's chest tightened. Maybe someday I'll teach you to ride a real one. From the doorway, Henderson stood watching. His clipboard hung loose in one hand. His mouth was slightly open. The biker who'd quoted family law was now sitting on the edge of a hospital bed, showing a 6-year-old how to make engine sounds. Henderson's phone buzzed. He looked at the screen. His face went gray. He walked toward Maddie, each step deliberate as a funeral march. Mr. Malone, we need to talk. Right now. Chapter 5, A Pack of 3. Henderson set the clipboard down. His jaw was tight, but his eyes had changed. Sal Rodriguez vouched for you. So did 3 other officers. Your house passed inspection. He clicked his pen. Once. Twice. Against my better judgment. I'm approving temporary guardianship. Maddie didn't move. Didn't breathe. Sign here. The pen felt like it weighed 1,000 pounds. Maddie's hand, scarred from bar fights and bad choices, pressed ink to paper. 3 signatures. 3 lives changed forever. Henderson stood. Don't make me regret this, Mr. Malone. You won't. Outside, the August heat had broken. Elena and Joey waited by the pickup truck, small shadows in the sodium light. Maddie reached into his saddlebag and pulled out something worn and heavy. His riding gloves. The leather ones with the Iron Saint's wolf stitched into the knuckles. He knelt in front of Elena. These were my brothers. He was the best man I ever knew. He placed them in her hands. You hold on to these. Mean to pack now. Both of you. Elena's fingers traced the wolf. Forever. Forever. Joey tugged Maddie's vest. Can we go home? Maddie's throat tightened. Home. He'd forgotten what that word meant. He opened the truck doors. 2 small bodies climbed in. As he turned the key, the engine rumbled to life. Not a roar of escape, but a purr of arrival. The girl who'd pounded on his saddlebag with desperate fists now sat beside him, wearing his gloves like armor. The boy who couldn't breathe now slept peacefully against the window. And the man who'd ridden alone for 5 years finally understood. Blood makes you related, but the road makes you family. If you believe that family isn't just about blood, It's about who shows up when it matters most. Then hit that like button and share this story with someone who needs to hear it today. Subscribe now, because we bring you stories like Maddie's every week. Stories about ordinary people doing extraordinary things when the world needs them most. And don't go anywhere yet. Check out the 2 videos showing on your screen right now. They're specially crafted for you, and I promise you won't regret it.